Wait, is it recording right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Sister Act 2 is the perfect movie. You can roll the credits now.
Hold on, we gotta debate this a little bit.
I invite you on my show.
It just takes over. It's crazy.
Live from the 612. Our very first guest. She's a person who once co-hosted a radio show with someone from Barstool Sports.
Really?
She's a caring and compassionate gem of a person who once described me as the Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons type of guy.
He's never going to let me live that down.
I mean, she's not wrong.
Thank you.
It's the hair.
She's funny. She's a plant person. She's an expert on the topic of this podcast, and she's also my girlfriend. It's Miss Mariah Stevens.
Woo! Hello. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Is this everything you've hoped and dreamed of?
I didn't even know I was getting an introduction.
Did you know that you've made it?
I mean, the bar was, there were no expectations, so it could only go up.
This is pinnacle podcasting right here, guys.
This is Mariah. I'm Michael.
I'm Kaylin.
And we're the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, is this a perfect movie? Today we're answering that question about Sister Act 2 from 1993.
Damn.
Starring Whoopi Goldberg.
And Lauryn Hill in her breakout role.
This is her breakout, really?
Yes.
She wasn't doing the
Fugees?
Fugees? Yeah.
No, that came after.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We looked into this.
1994,
Okay.
but...
I didn't know that. Interesting.
So, we're going to go around the table and just say, Sister Act 2, what's your history with it? Obviously, you have a big history, Mariah. Kaylin, I don't know. Me, as a child, I watched Sister Act 1 and 2 a lot with me and my sister as, like, a small child. Like video store rental when there's still VHS days. Like, that type of deal. Watched Sister Act and Sister Act 2 a bunch. They kind of melded together in my mind. So some things that happened in, I think, Sister Act 1... I was expecting to happen when I was watching it again as an adult, and it didn't. And
Sister Act 1 is with the old people, right?
Sister Act 1 is all about the nuns. Sister Act 1 is when she has to go into, like, witness protection program, Whoopi Goldberg does, and then she does it undercover in a nunnery, and then, I forget, but there's a big concert at the end, and she turns them into a poppin' choir, and they're all crotchety old whites. Sister Act 2 is your jam, Mariah.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I've never actually seen the first Sister Act. I guess I never questioned why it was called Sister Act 2. There was no part of me that thought there was a first one until like 5 years ago. I just love this movie. It is so well done. The music is incredible. I feel like everyone, aside from like the villains, I feel like everyone was just being themselves with words that were given to them. It just felt really authentic. And I don't know. It felt like they were just like, hey, people who are all friends, why don't you come sit in here and read these lines?
You know, after you, when you told me you hadn't watched Sister Act 1, I was surprised. But you're like, I guess I inferred some of that stuff. And I invited you to watch John Wick 4. And you were like, I need to see John Wick 1, 2, and 3. I think you can infer John Wick 1, 2, and 3. Honestly.
Okay, but not seeing one movie versus not seeing the three that precede.
Let me tell you, it's not that complicated.
Oh, okay.
It's the same movie 3 times.
I mean, it's like seeing
so then why do you want to see
Harry
John
Potter
Wick
and
4?
the Deathly Hallows?
It's like not seeing a previous James Bond movie, you know? Like, you know what you're getting in for. It's a big action movie.
It's like seeing the newest Fast and the Furious movie and then having, like, saying you have to go watch all the Fast and Furious movies.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kaylin, Sister Act 2, the subject of this podcast.
I think the first time I ever watched this was in music class.
Did we watch
This is a music class, isn't it?
I mean,
I think what's her name, Miss Ebony.
Yeah, Miss Ramquist. She actually reminded me a lot of the Whoopi Goldberg character.
Oh, I was gonna say she for sure thought she was gonna do like a Sister Act 2. in our school.
It didn't work out with us.
Didn't work
we
out.
just were asked.
It was chaos instead.
You
know,
She was like music teacher, private school, high school. It's happening.
You know the part where the class is crazy and then she gets her butt stuck to the chair and then she comes back and she like puts everybody in their place?
Yeah.
She never got the put everybody in their place part in reality. Nobody ever got put in their place.
I think I have her on Facebook, so this is going to be really awkward when this comes out. This movie is fun. I didn't enjoy it as much as School of Rock, but I do think the music is pretty incredible. Growing up as a church-going folk, kind of hit me in the church-going feels where I was like, man, I need to go to church.
It took you to church.
Oh, it did take me to church.
Ironically, you're skipping church to be here, Mariah.
Oh,
You know,
you're such a sinner.
guess I'm not sharing this episode with my mother. Thanks, Michael. Much appreciated.
As far as like the from a movie like making perspective, I don't think this is the greatest movie ever. I mean, it's pretty boring to look at. I don't think any of the performances are that fantastic. Mariah is looking at me with just like
No.
pure disdain, but it's okay.
My face has a mind of its
Whoopi
own.
Goldberg is not a good actress.
Yeah, generally. This is Mariah's having a Riddler moment. No, this is not how this is supposed to go. I all planned out.
Here's the thing. I fully understand. I've existed on this planet for a lot of years, since 1993, and I'm fully aware that I am kind of on my own little island in thinking this is just like top tier in terms of I'm not going to say musicals because it's not a musical, because musicals, the music is like telling the story. So movies that have music,
That's the theme
this
of
is
the
top
month.
tier.
It's definitely of the time. I'll say that.
I mean,
Very
yes.
90s.
I mean, compared to like something that would have come out recently, obviously no. But like for what it was, when it was, I think it's excellent. And we're all entitled to our own opinions, including wrong ones, Kaylin. So
Okay.
All right, contentious opening. We love it. We love it.
Let's move on, shall we?
Anyways, I just want to point out one fun fact before we get into the performance test. This movie is directed by Bill Duke. Do you know where we have seen Bill Duke before?
No.
He's the Predator. He's in the Predator. He's not the Predator. Hold on, stop. He's in the
he's
Predator.
a predator and made a movie about nuns.
And he's he's Hulk Hogan's best friend in Predator. And he's the guy in Mandy that Nick Cage goes to his trailer and gets a crossbow.
Okay, yes.
Bill Duke.
Okay.
He directed this movie.
I didn't know he was a director.
So should we do...
well, again, I
Actually-
mean that was '93. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Times change.
I didn't know that either. I look back and he did a bunch of like TV direction in the 80s. And he kept directing movies and none of them look good. But anyways,
this was the high point.
Kaylin, this is true. No, you're good. Shall we do our alternate titles?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go first or
Yes.
should I?
I don't know if you'll understand this first one. Okay. Theodore Rex 2, Prehistoric Pipes.
I was trying to work in a Theodore Rex reference just a little earlier when I was talking about Bill Duke.
If anybody doesn't know Theodore Rex, it was a Whoopi Goldberg movie where she was a detective with in a universe that was like coexisting with humans and dinosaurs.
Yeah, her partner's a dinosaur, and his name's Theodore Rex.
Theodore Rex.
That's
It was pretty
fascinating.
awful. It's like regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. Fun fact.
Okay. Mine is Mr. Noodle locks a guy in a storage closet.
Okay,
and some
that's
singing,
what that
too.
guy is from. Mr. Noodle, the creepy guy in Elmo's closet. Okay. Yeah. I knew he looked familiar. I was like,
Mr. Noodle!
You know what? I should have had a Mr. Noodle quote tracker when we were watching it, because I cannot. The amount of times that when we were watching it that you felt the need to remind me that you knew that he was Mr. Noodle in the Mr. Noodle voice, in the Elmo voice.
I was like, man, mustache, balding guy, he looks familiar. Mr. Noodle. Okay.
Are you?
All right. Cuz Convent.
Okay, here's mine. Remember the Beastie Boys? Frankie does.
That's a weird coincidence.
That's a good one.
All right, listen.
That's a good one.
Listen to my third one. The Priesty Boys.
Family film brought to you by Mac from Predator.
All right.
Nice.
Thank God you told me that reference before.
And then it just would have been
All right.
silence.
Last one. The Diary of Whoopi Goldberg's Teeth.
Oh, that's a, you know.
Boom, roasted.
She's got some choppers.
She does. Well, and with the habit and everything on, I mean, there's only so much for you to focus on. Because that's the point of the, to make you not attract attention. So then it's just face. And
it's
then
all teeth.
It's teeth and no eyebrows. That's really all that you can focus on.
All right, final one. Some nuns are having trouble with their inner city school, and one of them says, "Remember that black friend we made that one time?"
All right. That's basically the plot of the movie.
Yep.
You know who it was? It was what's her name? The bigger nun. The one that I said is the
goofy one.
It's the one who she was in Search of Dr. Seuss. Have you seen that movie?
No.
The one that's in Hocus Pocus.
But she's also in a witch in Hocus Pocus.
Okay. Yeah.
I bet it was her idea. She was like, "Wait, hold on. Inner city youth?
Black teacher."
All right, shall we move along to the performance test?
It was the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Hold it together, guys. The performance test is where we talk about our favorite performances, actors, characters, moments, and scenes.
All right.
Mariah, this is your favorite movie. What stands out to you?
Kaylin's laughing at me. What stands out to me? Okay, one thing. I really appreciated that they had actual high school aged children playing high schoolers. That is not something that I feel like happens often. You get 30-year-old people who are like, "Oh, you're kind of petite," or like, "Oh, you can't grow facial hair. You can play high schooler."
You get Spider-Man high schoolers when they're all 28.
Yes. So that's one thing I appreciate, and I think that for me is what added to the authenticity. And I mean, I will say, I don't think Lauryn Hill, I don't know. I don't think that she was stellar. I didn't watch this thinking, "Oh my gosh, she is going to be an Oscar-winning actress."
One of the alternate titles I cut was, "Look, it's Lauryn Hill."
I know it. I know who she is.
I know her.
She is actually an incredible singer.
Oh no, stellar singer. But I just don't, she wasn't bad at acting, but she wasn't, the only reason it's now I'm like, "Oh, it's Lauryn Hill." So then it's cool. But I think I was only 2 years old in 93. So, if I had seen it in 93 and been like, "Oh, here's this new person," I don't think I would have thought, "Who is she? I need to see her in more stuff."
Right.
Yeah, she didn't grab the screen.
No.
That goes for about 95% of the cast.
If we're, like you said about
being-
School of Rock, I feel like what School of Rock did better than this movie was it assembled the kids' characters and gave them all a thing.
Right.
A couple of our kids got a thing. Lauryn
rap
Hill's
kids.
thing is my mother doesn't want me to sing. The rap kids,
Frankie.
but besides the rest of them, it's
Right.
kind of
Well, Wesley is forget my parent. I'm new.
Wesley's Shaka Zulu.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
created a new identity for myself.
That's such a cliche character.
Yeah.
It's kind of hilarious.
I liked him a lot. Of all the kids, I liked him a lot. But then there's the other background kids where every once in a while they'll pop up, they'll be like, "I have a line.
Yeah.
I'm saying a line now."
Yeah. I think their stories could have been more developed.
One of the randoms is the one that sits up and is like, "We can't leave now. We gotta do it for Whoopi or whatever." When they're all gonna leave the big song.
Oh yeah, no, the girl with the bangs and the ponytail. She goes, "You guys, she is right," because she's like, if you want to go somewhere and you want to be somebody, you got to wake up and pay attention. And if you run away every time something scares you, you're gonna be running for the rest of your lives. And then that one girl who I don't actually remember seeing at all in the movie until that moment.
Yeah.
When she's like, "You guys, she is right."
That should be a character that's important.
Right.
should be saying
if you're
that
gonna do
line.
the whole struggling inner city kid thing, then you need to do struggling inner city kid. Like one kid needs to get shot, another kid needs to get arrested.
I mean, they do.
Sounded like juice.
You're making a different movie.
Well, okay, Sketch.
Make it more interesting.
Like how I mean, that's the other thing. So like Sketch has his little like, oh, I also have to work full time, so then like I'm tired all the time. That's why I fall asleep in school.
But it gets like 2 lines.
Well, that's the thing. And then like, you know, he yells at him to come in and get his. If you want your job, you better get back in here, boy. I guess you know what that means. And then he like goes back in. But that's the thing is, it's very like, yeah, I get it, we get it, but I feel like it could have been elaborated on more.
There needed to be some more stakes involved besides Lauryn Hill getting disowned by her
Yeah,
mom.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Besides the school shutting down. That's really the stakes.
Oh, that's the big stake.
That's
Yeah.
the big stakes. But we're like, we just got here, and half these kids are assholes. So I don't
Well, and
know.
that's the thing. And like, why do the kids actually care?
Yeah,
Like-
I would be like, hell yes, this school I hate shutting down.
Right.
Or it could be like,
Bust me to public school.
usually the cases with kids actually caring about school is they don't want to go home.
Yeah,
That's
Right.
the reason why kids care about school.
So like emphasize that at least the main characters all have a reason to not. All have a reason to want to
That's
stay,
what,
other than just like liking.
right.
Sister Act
Sister Mary
3
Clarence.
is going to be a gritty Sister Act requel where she goes back to the inner city, but they do all the things you're asking about.
Okay.
It's like the gritty reboot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh yeah.
But like, how long have they been talking about a Sister Act 3? I've every day I lose a little bit more hope that it's going to actually.
Are they
exist.
actually talking about this?
There've been articles about it.
I see a thumbnail.
Okay.
I think there's a poster. It's just Whoopi Goldberg peeking her head outside a door saying,
Just making a face, just smiling with her eyes open.
Well, she's got some controversial stuff going on with The View right now, so
does she?
she might be getting canceled. I don't know.
Ruh-roh.
I've heard some things. I heard they're calling her Whoopsie Goldberg now.
ooh, boom,
That's
roasted.
really unfortunate.
That's a headline you'll see on the New York Post.
Good thing she didn't say anything about the Jews.
That's true. That's how you get canceled.
But her last name is Goldberg, so
Dude, speaking of the Jews,
All you have to do is watch 21 Jump Street.
you just watch 21 Jump Street and you get better. And me and Dakota were at the bar last weekend, and Coda kept playing Kanye, and the guy at the bar had to come up to him after the 3rd Kanye song. He was like, Kanye's too controversial. Can you switch it up?
Switch it up.
people are actually triggered. That's
I was like, who doesn't like Bound 2 though?
Kaylin, what about you? Performance test. You didn't think anybody stood out.
Well, like I said, I just don't. Nothing really grabbed my attention. If you get what I'm saying, other than like the singing aspects, I think that was like the best. I mean, obviously the best parts of the movie. One scene that did stand out to me was when Lauryn Hill and another
Tanya.
We're singing in the.
I knew exactly who he was talking
were
about.
doing the piano scene.
Sure were.
That was an amazing
Yes.
performance. I actually went and downloaded that song. With His Eyes on the Sparrow.
Yes.
It's a great gospel
That
song.
scene convinced me that I could also sing that song to that degree. I can't. Probably never will. But
Don't limit yourself.
you know what? You're right.
Go
I got to
for
shoot
it.
for the stars.
Yeah. So other than a few standout singing scenes, I'm thinking the scene where the kid does the high note. I like that scene. It kind of got some chills when I heard him singing.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Yeah. Happy day. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. My sins away.
The most fun people in the movie are 3 like friar guys, the priests.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
they're
the
like
chef,
the Three Stooges.
The different fathers,
the
yeah.
chef Hetman, Mr. Noodle, and like the guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
Crotchety one. I mean, I will say, speaking of the singing, that's another thing is they got people who can actually sing. There was only one
Right.
like singing dub, and it was the red-haired.
Goldberg.
No, she sang her own stuff. It was the red hair with the bangs.
I know, I'm shocked by that.
What was her name? Mary? No, I'm probably making that up. No, yeah, Mary Roberts.
They
yeah,
dubbed
Sister
a
Mary
lot
Roberts
of Whoopi Goldberg
with the
stuff,
bangs.
though.
No, but she sang her own stuff though.
Okay.
They only had one. Oh, I looked. Don't worry.
It's not like live sang on the set, but it's her.
But it's her own
singing,
voice, yeah.
her
So,
recording.
because that's what I was having a hard time figuring out was if Whoopi Goldberg was actually singing or if it was a dub over.
In the opening in the Vegas show, I was like, whoa, what if this was Jennifer Hudson?
Oh, I mean that would have. Oh yeah.
And she was actually like really talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be a better movie? Or do you need the comedic actor like Jack Black's in School of Rock, like Whoopi Goldberg in this? Do you need...
I mean, I think for the time, you needed to have.
It would be more Stand By Me if it was like Jennifer Hudson. It'd
Yeah.
be more like a serious,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
let's get into
Whoopi
these...
Goldberg doesn't strike me as the diva type though. That's why that
It's
kind
kind of
of
hard to believe.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a good.
Yeah, she doesn't have that kind of
That
energy.
whole intro is so cringe.
Oh, I
So
love
cringe.
it. But
Okay.
that's fine.
Well, what scene, Mariah, do you say you listen to almost daily? Or watch almost daily?
Oh, the end.
The finale?
The finale.
Joyful?
Yes. It hits. It is so. And it's the dancing, it's the singing, it's the fact that like there's no part of that makes me think they're being forced to do this. They're doing this because they're getting paid to do it. It just feels so. I don't know. And maybe I think too, like I did theater in high school and I think about like doing the musicals and how much fun we had being on stage and performing. And so I think I guess I see that in them specifically in that scene.
I could see that. It does feel pretty genuine,
Yes.
especially like the performances feel genuine.
Yeah. So I do watch that scene like once a week.
It's a good song. The performance, they definitely were performing.
Yes.
You know, that whole scene though, I was kind of like, well, are there mics like? So I was not a theater kid. Do they put mics on the outside of like the stage? Because none of those kids were wearing mics, or was it just
No.
like an amphitheater kind of thing where?
Sometimes they have in like auditoriums like that, the things hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So they're like these tiny mics that are above them.
Okay. Because I was like, these kids are just singing their individual parts, and none of these kids have mics and
Right.
stuff. It just looked a little funny.
I mean,
yeah.
that was definitely movie magic for
Right,
sure.
right.
Because that's the thing. I think in real life, if that was a real thing, they would have probably had like mics on stands for them to come up to say their individual.
Mic check 1 2.
You know, I almost felt like they should have lost.
I will be honest with you. I really feel like they should have gotten first runner up, or like just as like, okay, look, we can do it. Like this is how well we can
Right.
excel and succeed. I don't think that they should have gotten first place. I
Right.
feel like it should have. Yeah, I do agree with you on that. Or
Second
grand
runner
prize.
up, and then our white guy that got locked in the broom closet that wants to shut him down. Just like, I had a change of heart while I was
He's
locked
like,
away.
I heard you guys from the vents.
And it was so beautiful. Even though there's a little bit of hostage taking in the act.
That's the thing with all these like school movies. There's always somebody doing something super illegal that they should
Some
get
light
arrested
kidnapping.
for. Yeah, like
But it's
kidnapping.
whimsical.
Like last episode, Jack Black, we were talking about. He literally kidnapped a bus full of children. Like in no way or form would
Yeah.
that fly in real life. But you know, it's
Very
movies,
true.
so we gotta let them do
and
movie
took him
stuff.
to like an 18+ venue.
That's like the equivalent of like post 9/11 just running through an airport and getting on a plane. You know what I mean? Because you're in love and you're chasing after somebody.
That's actually a really good point. I like that analogy. Good job, Kaylin.
Thank you.
I finally agree with you on something.
Okay, all right. You know, progressing over here. It's all good.
You know, but one difference between this and School of Rock is that this school does not have money. In School of Rock, school had a lot of money. So really, do we like this movie better because the white people don't win?
From that aspect, yes. Yes.
right.
Not something that I considered. That is a
Well,
thought that
not
I would-
even white people, because you know, there's an Asian,
there's
black girl in School of Rock, the bigger one, and I think there's a shorter one.
Yeah, there's a
two.
little-
okay.
yeah.
I thought you meant Sister Act.
That's what I
But
thought.
yes.
Is an
There
Asian
is
in
there is
Sister.
one Asian girl.
She has no lines. Right?
Token Asian hasn't changed.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think she has any lines.
This is what what's his name was talking about. Short round.
Yeah.
Can't get no damn parts.
Shout out to him for getting an Oscar. He deserves it.
And all the stodgy old whites were patting themselves on the back. Good for you.
It's kind of.
I'm the reason you couldn't get jobs.
But you know,
Good for us.
You know what's bad about that situation? We're still calling him Short Round. We need to find this guy's actual name.
I know his name. Kiwei, yeah.
Kiweo, okay.
No. Ki Kwan.
Ki Kwan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anyways. Shall we move along to It's an Art Bro? Anybody else?
No.
Shall we move along to It's an Art Bro?
Sure.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
It's an Art Bros where we talk about the specifics of the filmmaking process. We're talking sets, effects, lighting, framing, soundtrack, music. This is the most 90s soundtrack ever. Even when there's not like actual musicals, like the background music is all very 90s. Mm-hmm. Makes me think of like Seinfeld.
You know, the way this movie looks, it kind of reminded me. You ever seen the Mighty Ducks movies?
Yes.
It has that charm to it.
Yeah.
Where it's so bare minimum, where it's like, this is obviously aimed at kids.
There's
You
like
know
a
what I mean?
kids show budget, and then like the kids movie budget is like a little bit bigger.
Yes.
Like it's like a little bit fresher. I think where that really shows is like when they start like practicing in that roof area.
Oh yeah, the attic thing.
And the background, the city background looks like it's a late night show, like backdrop.
Yeah.
That was the first thing you pointed out. You're like, why does it look like Late Night with Jimmy Fallon out the window right now?
Yeah, it looked like what is that? You know that college TV show from the 90s? Or was it late 80s, 90s?
Not a Different World.
No, it is Different
Yes,
World.
A Different World.
Different World.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of that.
Yes. Very similar vibes.
Yeah, so it looked like 90s sitcom type shit.
Yeah.
And
Which is fine.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 90s. What are they supposed to look like?
They're supposed to look like 2023, obviously.
Speaking of 20 years ago, that's another thing to consider. This movie was made 20.
This makes me feel old as shit.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
I was thinking.
30.
30 years ago. You said, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1993. 2023.
Yeah, that's literally 30 years on the dot.
30. How do you feel now?
I think this is maybe the fourth time this week that we've had a conversation about how I don't do math very well. 30 years. That's like my entire life. Actually, I'll be 32 this year.
Yeah. You're as old as Sister Act. How's that make you feel?
You're as old as Sister Act. God damn.
Hey, Whoopi's still kicking. You got a day job.
Barely.
Oh my God.
She's barely kicking. She's barely holding it together over there at the View, man.
Okay, specifics of the filmmaking process. Solid. The soundtrack, again, I feel like the music, again, I mean, okay, soundtrack. I guess the songs that they sing are considered part of the soundtrack. Again, I just really appreciate the fact that they had actors who could really sing.
Yeah.
And it just made it, I don't know, because like, have you seen The Greatest Showman?
No, but I've seen one of the songs a
Okay,
lot.
well, the one who plays
It's
the redhead
Wolverine.
lady with the white dress,
Never mind.
the one who like he ends up having an affair with, kind of, but not really. I found out afterwards she did not sing any of her own songs. It was this woman named Lauren Allred, and which is like, okay, cool, but like, why couldn't Lauren Allred have just acted and also sang herself? I feel like knowing that she didn't sing. Same thing with like High School Musical. When you find out for the first one that Zac Efron did not sing any of his own songs.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I did not know that.
It was what's his face? Was it Drew Seeley? It was.
Wow.
So yeah, so I feel like that takes me out of a movie when I know that the person acting is not actually singing their own stuff.
Fun fact, Miserable.
Yes.
The entire cast sings live
Yes.
while they're filming.
And that's
Very impressive.
They were
truly.
filming Russell Crowe like, oh, God. What have we done?
Well, Hugh Jackman isn't the best singer either, but I mean, they pulled it off. He
did really well for-
That's a really
yeah.
great
Well, Hugh
production.
Jackman's like a play, like he's a stage.
He was like
He's a stage
theater
actor,
He's also
yeah.
in The Greatest Showman. He sings.
He does well in that one. But
Russell Crowe. Woo!
Yeah, a little rough.
that was a choice. But yeah, I think for me, in terms of like thinking about the soundtrack, that just, I feel like for me helps me be like more into the movie. So
I agree.
this movie ends with a freeze frame record scratch, which is a really 90s way to end your movie. And then it goes into a dance number.
Post-credit dance number.
And if you watch, Mr. Noodle goes into the white space, and he never comes back because that's where he lives. Mr. Noodle lives in the white space.
He went back to Elmo's closet.
He's in Elmo's world. The end of this movie is in Elmo's world. Have you considered
I'm
this?
like
That's a
short circuiting right now.
Callback.
Hi, Mr. Noodle. Hello.
Yeah, do they do not post-credit, but mid-credit dance numbers anymore? I don't think they do that as much. Actually, no. What
Didn't
movie
Guardians have one?
Yeah, but Guardians had that whole like we're trying to
kind of a
80s
throwback.
vibe kind of thing.
And was that a dance number? Or was it just like a
No,
mid-credit scene?
No, they danced at the end, right? During the fight scene.
I don't
Something
remember.
like I don't know.
I might have just made that up.
There is dancing and music in Guardians.
Hey, movies where people dance. West Side Story. Rapid fire.
Singing in the Rain.
Mary Poppins.
Sound of Music.
Song of the South.
I'm sure they danced in that movie. Might not be the most politically correct dancing, but
Hairspray.
It was racist dancing.
Also,
Good Burger. You know they're making a sequel to Good Burger. Did you see that?
that's what's up.
I'm excited for that one.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, yes.
What? Oh, there is dancing.
Hands on a dance number.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Get with it, Caitlin.
I'm sorry.
Do we want to keep rolling?
I can't think of any more.
I can't think of anything else either. Like
Frauds.
Oh, let's see. Set, effects, lighting. Nothing special about the lighting. Nothing special about the set. No special effects.
It's kind of a like we said.
Very bare bones.
Bare bones
there were
movie.
no explosions in this movie, and I'm very disappointed.
It
There
would
could at
have
least been a car crash.
There could have been. That's what I'm saying.
Or like you said, someone getting shot. I mean, plus in that one scene, the one that I was like, put your phone down and watch this whole thing when they're singing in the old folks' home. One of the when all the old nuns are singing in the old folks' home, and one of the line, it's like, gun control. Shooting rockets to the moon, kids growing up too soon. I just think, they reference all of these things that are happening, well, in that current time, still now. Those could have been reflected in some of the acting scenes.
The beat goes on. Evolution, revolution. Gun control. Sound of soul. Shooting rockets to the moon. Kids growing up too soon.
Yeah. Could have had some type of, artistic thing going on.
Imagine putting some sort of like theme in your movie.
I just feel like the biggest drama, like the big, it was, okay, the school's gonna shut down because they don't have enough money, and Lauryn Hill's mom is like, your dad was a deadbeat because he wanted to play the saxophone, and you are also going to be just like him if you try to make singing a career. And I don't feel like there was a real, like, heavy drop to be redeemed at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it necessarily had to be, but it just kind of stayed kind of mid the whole way through.
Yeah, it's very safe.
Yes.
Also, they found out about it's like they didn't realize what the plot was while they were filming it, because the contest comes out of nowhere. The nuns are like digging through boxes and they're like, look, we won a bunch of contests. Wait, I wonder if they still have the contest. Good thing we found the plot of this movie inside these boxes.
And I don't think they ever explained why they're cleaning the... Oh, were they cleaning it out so that they could use it as a music room?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
so.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
But it's a little like...
But, like, they didn't have to do... They could have just pushed everything off to the side.
But honest, I mean, like these nitpicks. It's like this movie was never trying to be anything other than what it already is.
That's true.
Should we move on to
This
let the
movie-
hate flow through?
I'm just saying, for the record, I just like this movie, period.
No, I mean I like it just fine.
I just never... I mean, I'm finding critiques so that I can participate adequately.
Well, you're doing a swell job.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
participating adequately. Can we move along to let the hate flow through you?
Yes. I want to say I hate this movie. This movie sucks ass.
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
I wish I could delete this movie from existence. Wish I could Thanos snap it into dust.
I'm sorry, little one.
So, let the hate. Your annoyance and complaint is that it exists, Kalen. Solid. Michael,
Kalen's mad that we made him watch it. He doesn't really care that it exists.
No, I'm fine. I've seen this movie before. It's fine.
what are your annoyances and complaints?
Early 90s freestyle raps are the cringiest thing
terrible.
ever.
Yes, I agree.
When he's like, 1, 2, joy to the world, 3, 4, whatever the fuck he said.
hippity hop,
It was Beastie Boys guy and the guy that looks like Jasper from Odd Future. Their raps were terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was really awful, and every time, or like they'd be like, "Yo, kick it! I'm about to freestyle rap on the top of this roof."
It's like what white people think rap is supposed to be.
It's
is
what
that.
white my parents think rap is.
Yeah,
You know,
Yes.
not good.
I'll do another critique. I feel like, a lot of the stuff going on, or at least the performances, are just so cringe. in my humble opinion, which it's fine because I understand it's supposed to be a little cheesy kids movie. It's fine. I was just cringing a lot, especially a lot of Whoopi Goldberg stuff, and I think none of the comedy lands. Which is
There's a couple really funny moments. I think not really funny, but there are funnier moments. But there are also some moments where it's like, let's end the scene.
yeah.
I think, Michael, if you had watched it by yourself, you would not have laughed as much as you did. I think you laughed because I was laughing.
wow, fake.
No, not even in a bad way. I'm just saying, because I genuinely enjoy this movie.
He wants to make you feel good. It's fine.
No, I think there's a couple moments early on when she's arriving at the school. Some of that Whoopi Goldberg stuff is funny. And there's a couple moments when she's getting them together to sing. It's clear that she's ad-libbing a little bit, I think, because she's there's the one boy that keeps playing one note. He's like, give us a D. And after the third time she asks him, she's like, oh, he's so talented. Look at him.
I kind of like when she's just baking the shit out of the kids. That seems realistic from a teacher's standpoint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think Whoopi's awful, but I do think that it's very interest drops and there's troughs and rises in my interest while I'm watching this. Some of the scenes I'm like, yeah, I know where this is going.
Yeah, that's true.
I just think this type of movie has been done so much to the point where, regardless of the music and everything, it's just not interesting.
I think fundamentally for me and you, Kaylin, it's because we just watched a movie that is basically the same movie a couple
It's
weeks
true.
ago, and it's just better.
But you
It's a
can
better
think
version.
about how many times you've seen a movie like this.
Yeah.
Where it's literally the same plot. And this is really no fault of the movie. It's just, this is something that's sold for kids, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
a family-friendly romp with maybe some music, or you put some comedian in the center of it, and you just have some very low stakes romp. It's a movie they don't really make anymore. Kids movies are either animated or part of a IP or both.
Yeah.
But
but it's fine. And I think, obviously a reason why we're doing this episode is because this movie is somewhat memorable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, School of Rock, Sister Act 2, something we all remember and have a nostalgic feeling towards.
you need to tell
And so from that aspect, it's special.
my sister Abby that you love Sister Act too, because she's the reason I watch Sister Act so much.
Clutch. That's all I ever want in life is for his sister Abby to like me. It's the only thing I care about. Two very specific gripes. One, scratching on the chalkboard when she first goes into that classroom.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mute it every time. And because I've watched this movie so many times, I know exactly when to press the mute button and not hear it.
As soon as that scene started, she just started snapping her fingers and was like, hand me the remote.
It's literally, I was like, and even if Michael hadn't seen it, even if it had been decades, I didn't care. That part was getting muted both times. Then, now this is one that, so my mom is an English teacher, and I remember her pointing this out to me, obviously decades ago, and it still has stuck with me. When Shirley Ralph catches Lauryn Hill listening to the tape and trying to practice the song, and they're going back and forth. She says, the choir and the competition are out. And then Lauryn Hill replies, and then she says, the choir and the competition is out. And that is a grammatical conflict. And I think about that every time, only because my mom pointed it out to me. like 20 years ago.
It's funny how small things like that can ruin an experience.
Like she's trying to be so like, no, it's out. You're not doing it. You're not. And I'm like, but you just said they are out, and now you're saying they is out, and that's not the same thing. And that takes me out of it a little bit every time for like.
Can we say how that mom is totally unreasonable?
Oh, for sure.
She's an awful parent. And I was very upset at her this entire movie.
It's a cliche. We've seen it in Fences.
Yeah.
Fences had the dream crusher parent. I mean, it's kind of a real thing. We also saw it in the movie Pearl. I made her watch that. Also has a dream crusher parent in it. It's kind of a cliche. I don't think it's because it's underwritten. She gets 2 scenes. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, her character's not really developed. I guess, I mean, you make the inference that she is always busy doing hair when she's not at work. So then, Lauryn Hill has to find something to do with her time, and she decides she wants to be part of the choir. So, but I also feel like, as busy as mom is, how does she even have time to know that she's trying to sing in the choir? How does she have time to even be upset about that?
I've seen that the mom and daughter dynamic that stood out to me was towards the end. After they get done singing and Lauryn Hill goes and confronts her mom, and she's trying to explain herself, and the mom's like, "Stop! You were amazing." And I'm like, that's emotional manipulation.
I'm proud of you.
That is so like you're just fucking with her mind at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. In my mind, in reality, she goes back home and like that switch flips again, and in 2 weeks it's gonna be like, stay out of the damn choir, again. And she's just like an emotionally unstable parent that's
just bitter.
Yeah.
burdened with her widowed life.
I mean, again, and that's part of the 90s family movie classic of like, we got to put a bow on everything at the end. Right. So their relationship has to be positive. She's got to recognize how great her daughter is at singing. Like, everyone has to be happy and smiley.
But we all know in real life, nothing ever changes. So.
Yes. Very true.
So, does this bring us to our final question? Is this a perfect movie?
Yes.
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And it was perfect. Perfect in every way.
Roll credits.
All right, goodbye.
You heard it here, folks.
I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be out of 3, and I understand that 2 out of 3 is a majority. So I fully respect that the conclusion is that this is not the perfect movie, according to the parameters of this podcast.
According to the parameters, yes. But, we want to honor you and, your opinion. And so you saying the perfect movie, that's just you saying the perfect movie. It's the perfect movie. We're not putting it on the list. I'm sorry.
That's why I said I respect the parameters.
I'm just playing.
I will walk away still loving this movie, despite all of the critiques that have been presented today. However, there are rules. Like I said, there's rules and parameters. So
You had me in the first half. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna go.
I knew. Oh, I knew he wasn't. I knew he wasn't.
Doesn't mean I don't respect your opinion.
Well, I'm just kidding. I don't think it's a perfect movie. It is a fun movie. It's a good enough movie. It is a movie. You can start your own damn list.
It is a movie.
I could start my own list.
You start your own podcast.
That's
the
fine.
Sister Act 2 podcast, where you just, I don't know.
I
Unpack
only
Sister
talk
Act 2.
about that movie. No, but I mean, and also, I mean, if you look at the movies that you guys have reviewed up to this point, I mean, again, this is kind of niche comparatively, so it doesn't really fall in the vein, I feel like, of the other movies that you guys have talked about.
But it's funny because you could say that School of Rock is a niche as well. Because this movie did come out before School of Rock.
I mean, with music being a part of it, yes, but I feel like School of Rock is kind of similar to Napoleon Dynamite. Like, I would put those kind of in the same
realm.
Yeah. Maybe not next to each other, but they'd be like, their circles would kind of intersect a little bit.
I agree with that.
I think this movie could have been as good as School of Rock with like a little bit sharper writing and maybe a different person in the lead role.
What was the budget for this? We should pull that up. Because that would explain a lot.
Mostly Whoopi Goldberg's salary.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because this was like pretty peak. Like Whoopi was
38
huge.
million.
Whoopi was huge
Damn.
around this time. Like, where did all that money go?
How much did they gross?
It was not as successful as Sister Act. It grossed 57.3 million in the US and Canada, and then 67.3 million internationally.
Damn, man, they got a
So
return.
worldwide, 124.6 million against a $38 million budget.
$38 million for
And
this
that
movie?
was not as successful as Sister Act.
And movies also just don't get made in that budget range. It's either like super low budget indie, 10 million or under, and blockbusters these days. That was a very 90s thing where people used to make like reasonably priced movies and get a reasonable box office and make a reasonable return. But now it's all just like home run swings. It's like what happened in baseball.
Well, I mean, because back then it's like you had to go to the theater to see something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's you can watch whatever.
And they would stay in the theater for longer.
Yeah.
The original Sister Act was one of the most financially successful comedies of the early 90s with
Wow.
a $31 million budget and a $231 million.
You haven't even seen it.
No, and I won't. I mean, I've tried. I have tried to watch it and I have fallen asleep every time. So I'm fine not seeing the original. But I'm just saying.
That's really impressive.
That's very impressive, I think. Especially, again, because it's a very niche, like, not... Most people I know are not into, like, music in movies. Like,
Right.
there's a musical or there's a movie. But if you're going to have a movie that's just got some songs in it, not everyone's jam. So for it to be that successful... in that category, I feel like is...
I think that says something for sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. 38 million. That's
got to
That's
be
a
all
big
Whoopi's
budget.
salary.
It has
Who
to
the
be.
hell is paying that much money?
because I mean it doesn't transition onto the screen at all.
No. Unless, I mean, maybe like their location. I mean,
did
if they're
possibly.
actually in the heart of San Francisco, like,
Possibly, yeah.
you know,
They
having
did.
to rent space.
Fill an auditorium for a few days, I'm sure. It's not like digitally multiplied extras like they do this time.
That's true.
There was extras. That was a full auditorium.
But do you think, I don't think it would have cost anywhere, I mean, a fraction of that budget for
This is true.
filling that auditorium.
It's interesting because you said San Francisco this was set.
Yeah.
I was thinking East Coast the entire time watching this.
Oh,
I
no.
thought they were in New York.
Oh, no, it is set in
gave
San...
that vibe.
Because that's the movie that makes me want to visit San Francisco.
Okay. I must have missed the Golden Gate Bridge because I'm sure they did a flyover scene of that.
Because I don't know, they say it in the beginning at some point, and then they talk about, like, the, you know, California state.
Everything seemed real East Coast.
Is Whoopi Goldberg in any other movies that are good?
Ghost. Is Ghost good?
I don't
Have
know.
you
I've
seen
never
Ghost?
seen it. I'm sorry.
Ghost is like a classic.
It is. I haven't seen it. I think. Yeah, we should have looked up her.
Check out her filmography real quick.
Oh, she was in The Color Purple in '85.
Color Purple is a good movie.
Oh,
Oh God, she's in Star Trek: The Next Generation.
she sure is. Yes.
She's in that Emmett Till movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Came out.
Which
I
I
was
saw,
thinking-
but I don't even remember what her role in that was. So that, see, not memorable.
Not memorable.
She was in a movie, 9/11 movie with Charlie Sheen.
Oh, she was in The Little Rascals, which I think tracks if I tell you that's also just like, I love that movie. Definitely.
Just 90s
sense.
family movies are all your favorite movies.
She was in Toy Story 3.
Whoopi?
Yeah, she was
Interesting.
did voice work, I guess.
Well, shall we shut this?
Oh, she was in Lion King. She was one of the hyenas.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, I think we can close it out.
big whoop. B.
Sorry that. Sorry that this didn't work out for you.
You know what, though? My expectations were, I already came into this knowing that I was going to be the odd man out. However, I stand in my convictions. I am not a tree that's easily shaken. So,
All right, it's good.
Whoopi Goldberg has an EGOT,
A what?
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award.
Really?
She's got all four.
What did she get an Emmy for? What TV
Star
show was
Trek?
she on? Star Trek?
Who is the oldest EGOT winner? Hold on.
I mean, I would assume that she would have gotten it for Star Trek.
Yeah, it's probably Star Trek. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Again,
She's only one of 17 people to achieve that.
She was the first black person to achieve. You got.
It's awesome.
Good for her.
Congrats to Whoopi Goldberg for her
Yay.
continuing career.
And now she's on The View.
Now she's beefing on a morning television show that moms watch and get wine
that
drunk.
a lot of the white hosts say a lot of like racist things and they get in trouble for it.
Shout out to Meghan McCain.
I think Whoopi Goldberg's always the one there to check their ass when they say something racist. That's what we need her for.
Okay, well,
That was fun.
you know, we still haven't found a salutation, but I'm starting to think that our thing will be not having a salutation.
It
You know what I'm saying?
just
Yeah,
ends.
just end.
Not even that it just ends, it's just that I will never come up with it, but I'll always bring it up and drag it out and make it awkward for you, and you, the listener.
I think that's a good
Is it
idea.
about time to say goodbye? I don't know. Hold on. Look at your phone.
Mariah, I hope you
How many
come
more
back.
seconds are in the show? Look at it. It's counting down. Oh, jeez.
Enough to think about it.
Jury's
Jury's still out on that one.
She's had a bad experience at the
You're
Perfect
welcome
Movie
to come
Podcast.
back if you like.
I'm just going to show up. I'm just going to show up.
That's what Coda does.
Perfect.
And he just yells.
Coda just ad libs in the background. Like,
Coda, we'll share a mic.